So 2022 down at deer camp. Coming out of the winter, the herd was looking like it was in really good shape. We had some really nice up and coming fawns, so everything was looking like real good. Got my chores done, added to the food plot as much as I could. One thing that I didn't really keep in count for though were neighborhood dogs, and I seem to have a lot of dog problems from the neighbors this year. In one case, I even have this German Shepherd chasing this deer right past my camera, right going into deer season. So I'm gonna have to deal with that over the summer, next year, before next season. Had a lot of bears on camera this year. Haven't had that many bears running through camp at all. So that was kind of neat to see, but again, might have affected some deer movement, and why we weren't seeing some of the deer movement like we normally did. Dad and I didn't keep up on the cameras religiously this year. There'd be weekends that we'd forget to put the cards back in, or the batteries would run out, before we could get back, so we'd miss, quite a big chunk of time, sometimes a week or two of data. But we did have some nice bucks on camera, and in the area, warm weather during the peak of the rut really shut the movement down during the daytime. It kind of had me wanting to get over to some state land. I've been having some good luck over there this year, so that was kind of the game plan going into this weekend.
We're gonna get them.
Headed in all the way down this logging road, probably over a mile and a quarter or so. First interview of the weekend. It's Friday, December 9th, I think. It's the last weekend of the season for rifle. I'm heading back after that big 8-point. He got me during bow. Got Chuck coming tonight. Dad's out at camp. He just got here a little while ago. It's not going to be snowing or anything like that, so I'm just going to go in and sit for the night. Where I came across my first kind of nice scrape of the day. It's not a new scrape, but it's not too old either. Maybe a week. That scrape, that was about a week old or so I kept moving, and I got up about another 150 yards, and all on the left side of me and on the right side of me was just real thick, high stem counted stuff. So I saw tracks kind of moving in that direction, and again, so I decided I'm going to dive off, follow those. Kind of scouted my way through there, found two nice rubs. So I picked my way through this thick, nasty stuff, and I got to the hilltop. And I kind of crested the top of the hill and started working my way down a little bit. And I found a nice run that went right along a lower ledge down there on a bench. I found a huge rub down there, and I decided I want to kind of get a better vantage point, so I headed back up to the hill, and I sat right where the thick kind of dumped off the top of the hill, looking down. Tracks coming in and out of here, so I'm kind of hoping the deer come this way toward me, and I can get a good view of them down in this bottom before they get up here. There's a huge rub right down there on that tree. After a couple hours of staring down into this bottom here, I swear I saw a deer's head kind of pop up down in and amongst all this thickness down in the bottom. And so I stared down in that spot for, I would say, at least a good 3-4 minutes. I stood still as a statue just looking down there. And about, 40 yards, to my right, all of a sudden the deer pops out. And he's in an opening. I think I can see a decent beam over there on the right side with my naked eye, and then through the scope it was just this nice little channel carved out through this thickness. And so I ended up sending one, and immediately the deer jumped and kicked, and he was gone, out of sight, immediately out of sight. I couldn't see anything afterward, so I hung my hat as high up in the tree as I could, and I turned around and I made a straight line right through this thick stuff, right down to where I thought this deer was standing. And sure enough, right where he was standing, I got into some blood. So I could see there was stomach matter, a little bit of blood matter. I was not feeling confident about that shot, but I decided to kind of just keep poking along. It was just pretty easy to keep deciphering, and I only had to go about 30 yards. I see a buck. Got a buck down. Oh man, what a great buck. What a great deer. I'm totally happy with that. Absolutely perfect hunt. First time in, first time sit. And I couldn't pass up this opportunity in here. It just looked too good. And he came right down this logging road. He was facing the other direction, but here's the exit on it. It was a perfect shot. And I mean, I literally couldn't be happier. A nice 8-point buck off public land. Scouting my way in and just So Chuck and I decide to head in the next morning. We leave the deer overnight. Dad's hunting at camp. I'm going to hike in with Chuck. I'm going to drop him off along this logging road, get up into where the deer is, get him cleaned out, get him brought back, hooked up on the sled, and dragged out to the logging road and back as far as I could. Figured by then it'd be a few hours, Chuck would be done hunting, and we could meet up. Just another day on state land. You know, one of my favorite things is getting the deer back to camp and getting him back up on the pole, you know, figuring out how much he weighed.
118.
Kind of just soak it all in. You know, you work so hard to get to these points, and you put in so much time all year till the next time this comes around. So you want to kind of cherish the moment as much as you can. So Dad's been a great wingman this year. He's been on both weekends where I've killed and been part of the, you know, drag out experience and everything else that comes with getting a deer at camp. So that's been exciting, but he hasn't pulled the trigger on anything yet. He's been letting lots of does pass, and he's had 2 encounters with a 6-point at my house and a nice 6-point at his house, and he just wasn't feeling it and figured they needed another year to grow. So I knew by last day of rifle he was getting pretty itchy to get his deer down, and I figured we'd put him in the box blind. Brand new this year. We built this kind of overlooking the food plot. We had a lot of deer still coming to the food plot regularly, mostly does. Still a nice 3 or 4 pack. Figured we'd put him in that shooting house and see what kind of luck he would have, and hope that he can knock one of these does down that was hitting the food plot regularly. So that is the end of rifle season. So we're going to go pick up Chuck, head back to camp, and see how Dad did. We headed back, got back in the car. You know, as soon as my phone went off, I pulled over. He had a buck down. So he thought it was that doe, thought it was a doe, and as you can see, it's not exactly easy to tell.